إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. Our beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam once said, indeed I was sent to spread and to perfect good manners. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam also said, ما من شيء أثقل في ميزان العبد يوم القيامة من حسن خلق. There isn't a thing on the day of judgment that will reap so much of reward to a person more than his good akhlaq, his good manners, his good character. Studying some of the etiquettes of Islam, one of the segments of this program, to learn some of the etiquettes, some of the adab, some of the akhlaq, character, improving our character. Inshallah, today we'll speak about adab al-tilawa, the etiquettes of reciting the Quran. May Allah make us among those who are punctual on reciting the Quran, inshallah, on a daily basis. The first adab of reciting the Quran, when we want to recite the Quran, the first adab, the first etiquette is ikhlas, sincerity. Why are you doing it for? If you do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're doing it for anything else, it will not be counted. You won't get any reward. You can sit for hours, but it's not counted. Why or what can be any other reason for reciting the Quran? Yes, people sometimes recite just to be said, oh wow, he's a reciter. Oh mashallah, he finished one khatma every month. MashaAllah, he's a qari, he's such a qari. And this reminded us of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that from the very first people who will be sent to the hellfire on Judgment Day, qari'un lil Quran, one who used to recite the Quran. And when he will be questioned about his recitation, he will say, Ya Allah, I used to recite the Quran. I used to spend days and nights reciting the Quran. Ana al-layli wa atraf al-nahar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him, Kadhabta, you lied. And the malaika will say, Kadhabta, you lied. Because you read the Quran so that it will be said, he's a qari. He's a reciter. He recites the Quran. He's a very religious person, mashallah. وَقَدْ قِيل, and it was said, you already took your reward. أَخَذْتَ أَجْرَكَ فِي الدُّنْيا, you took your reward in dunya. You have no reward in the akhirah. You see? So ikhlas is very important. Sincerity when you recite the noble Quran. Some of the ulama and the pious people, he used to recite the Quran, and in order to keep this ikhlas and sincerity, when someone passes by, he immediately hides the Quran. He doesn't want anyone to see him reciting the Quran. Why? Because he wants to make sure that he's sincerely reading it for Allah. Sometimes we don't want to read in public and see everyone, I'm reading, I'm so pious, right? But make sure that you're doing this good a'mal sometimes in secret. And no problems if you're going to do it in public, but make sure that your intention is correct, right? But to completely stay away from any doubt, to read it in secret. At your own house maybe, in a place where nobody can see you, and recite the noble Quran and the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ikhlas, sincerity. Then comes after that the second etiquette, tahara, to purify yourself, to clean yourself for the Quran. It is the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this book is only touched by the mutahharun, by the clean people. The noble Quran is touched by the clean people. The malaika in the heavens are the clean people. And also on earth, we human beings, we also imitate the malaika. And our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to always touch the Quran when he's in a status of wudu. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the next etiquette is tasawwuk. Tasawwuk means to use siwak. See, even when we recite the Quran, we use siwak because we're going to utter the words of Allah. So it should come from a pure, clean mouth. Use the siwak. It's not like a must, but these are adab, etiquettes for us. Then the next one is istiqbalul qibla. Face the qibla when recite the Quran, face the direction of the qibla. It's also recommended. When you recite the Quran, look for the direction of the qibla and recite. Then the next one is isti'adha, to say a'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-rajim. Before reciting the Quran, you say a'udhu billah. And this is in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. When you recite the Quran, always say this isti'adha. Say a'udhu billah, I seek protection in Allah from shaitan, from Satan, the rejected one. And then the basmala after that to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So this is also from the etiquettes of reciting the Quran. Comes after that tartil. You recite it in a beautiful voice. Recite the Quran in a beautiful voice. Follow ahkam al-tajweed. A lot of times, sometimes people say, Shaykh, I don't have a good voice. You know, I wasn't given a good voice. What must I do, ya Sheikh? You know, wallahi, when you read with khushu', when you read with understanding, Allah will beautify your voice. حسنوا أصواتكم بالقرآن. You can beautify your voice and make it a very nice and sweet and melodious voice through reciting the Quran with khushu'. When the heart is humble, the sound, the voice will come out humble as well. Even your own voice will come very sweet. When you are humble, when you're reciting the Quran with understand. So you try to recite in a beautiful way, with adab, with the noble Quran, understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to us. This is it. Follow ahkam al-tajweed. You know where to stop, where to stay. And if you find that, you know what, okay, but Sheikh, I don't know all of that. I'm just an ordinary person. I didn't study, right? I'm trying, but I didn't study. Should I stop because I don't read it correctly? No, you still read it. Even if you find difficulty, you still read it. The Prophet ﷺ gives this good news. He says, وَالَّذِي يَقْرَأُ الْقُرْآنَ وَيَتَتَعْتَعُ فِيهِ وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِ شَاقٌ فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ. The one who recites the Quran and he finds it hard and he makes mistakes while reciting the Quran, but he's still being punctual, he or she. فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ. He will take double reward. He will get double reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't stop. So this is also part of one of the etiquettes of reciting, is that don't stop recitation. If you find that yourself are making mistakes, keep on reciting. Keep on reciting, you're getting double reward, more reward, right? So this is also part of the adab of reciting the noble Quran. Comes after that tadabbur. We said tadabbur means to reflect, to ponder over the verse, to stop in some of the verses, to see what is the verse is talking about, to read the translation of the verse maybe, right? If you stop by some of the verses that speaking about the hellfire, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from it. If you stop by a verse that gives the good news of Jannah, you ask Allah to grant you Jannah. Likewise, this is how to make tadabbur in the Quran. Reflect and ponder over the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Part of the adab also is to make ijtima', to gather together. Sometimes we recite with the people, recite in a halaqah, recite in the masjid, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that ما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه فيما بينهم إلا حفتهم الملائكة وغشيتهم الرحمة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. Any group of people that gather in a place and they recite the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together, except the malaika will come to them, surround them. And the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will descend upon them at that moment. So also from the etiquettes, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you recite in a group, sometimes you recite alone, no problems with that. It's one of the etiquettes. Also, if you're reciting in a masjid, then make sure you're not harming the people in the masjid. Your voice is not so loud that affects the musallis. That some people are making salah next to you and you're reciting very loud and you're affecting them. So make it soft, especially if there are people that pray. Also, if you're reciting at night and you find that you're slumbering, you're tossing over, you can stop. Here, you should stop. You don't continue to recite while you are already sleeping or about to sleep. Right? So it's better at that moment so that you can focus on the noble Quran and the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stop reciting if you find that you're tossing. The next one is continuity. To continue on reciting the noble Quran on a daily basis. And we said before, the least is at least to read 10 verses of the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to read every day on a daily basis, at least 10 of the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah grant us the understanding. These are just some of the quick adab of tilawah. I hope that we benefited you with it, inshaAllah. And we hope that we be punctual on following this adab and reciting the noble Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among Ahlullahi wa khassatuh. The people of the Quran are the special people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll take a short break. We'll come back inshaAllah after the break.